Hey friends, we just turned our calendars over to November, and I bet you're already beginning to feel that holiday stress setting in. Thanksgiving will be here before we know it, but don't get yourself worked up just yet. I'm Mel, and welcome to my kitchen. Today, me and my mama are making her family famous cornbread dressing, and that's just the beginning. I'm also sharing 3 other recipes perfect for your Thanksgiving table, but they're easy enough to have any night of the week. So just take a deep breath, sit back, relax, grab your sweet tea, and let me do the cooking. Today we're in the kitchen with my mom, also known as Granny, and we're making Granny's cornbread dressing. And I've only made this once, and you wasn't here with me doing it either. Like, remember, you gave me instructions over the phone. So I am excited to see Granny make it too. When I made it, it was good, but it wasn't as good as hers. So I am excited to see it. You excited to make it, Granny?
I am.
We'll eat it, won't we?
We will. Okay, this morning we're going to be making cornbread dressing. I made the cornbread yesterday, probably a 12-inch skillet. I had this little leftover, so I threw that in. We used just the regular recipe for our cornbread. I don't think you would want sweet cornbread in your dressing, but if you prefer that, it's whatever you like. We have onion, celery, butter, sage, chicken broth, and cream of chicken soup, and that's the ingredients we'll be using. Now, normally I would make a bigger, probably double it for the actual Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes.
But today is just going to be our small group, so we're going to half it. Okay, today we're going to be using this little appliance that we found at Walmart. We saw this on Simply Sarah, and it is we call it the lawnmower string. But this little piece of equipment here has come out to be the best thing we've ever had, or I've ever had. I love it, and I dig it out for everything. I've got an electric one, but I still prefer this string one.
And Simply Sarah's is probably Tupperware. Don't she sell Tupperware?
Yes, I believe she does.
So hers is probably a lot more expensive. This one from Walmart was $5, right?
Right.
But look here. It doesn't move. It's got a rubber gripping bottom. And I just think that's awesome.
Okay, our first step today, we're going to be chopping up our celery. And like I've said before, we're just doing a small recipe today of this cornbread stuffing or dressing. Now, I'm calling it cornbread because that's all I'm putting in mine. Most people, right before Thanksgiving or a holiday, when they're going to have this dressing, they'll start saving their bread. So that was 2 stalks of celery here that we've got in here.
But we don't put bread in ours.
Yeah. A lot of people will use light bread, biscuits, whatever kind of bread they've got. They'll start putting it back, and then they put it all in their dressing. But for my preference, I just would rather have cornbread.
Me too.
Okay.
Let's count them.
Okay.
How many?
So we have it in here.
How many pulls?
Uh-oh.
1, 2. That's 16 pulls.
Okay, now.
Look at that.
It depends, too, on how fine you want your ingredients. So this is our celery.
Now, Walmart doesn't always have this, do they? We found it out on one of those, like, where they put, like, the seasonal Tupperwares and all that kind of stuff, and it was only $5. And I've not seen them there since. And I didn't get one. I was like, nah. And I wished I had. So I will look on Amazon and see what I can find cheap on there that's like this, and I'll get one. And if it's good, I'll link it for you.
Okay, so now I'm crumbling up my cornbread. Like I said, I made this last night ahead of time. So we just want to get this all mashed up, get all the big pieces out.
That looks very therapeutic.
It is.
You take out all your aggressions on that cornbread, can't you?
Yeah. My mama always made this for our Thanksgiving dinners, but then after she passed away, I kind of picked it up. So it needs to be passed on. It's very simple, but it's just something that we really, really like. And sometimes we think, why do we think we just got to have it on Thanksgiving? You know, we could have this anytime.
So that's what we're doing this week.
Yes, we're going to have this tomorrow.
Yeah, this is Halloween when we're filming this. And I said, hey, Granny, let's make your dressing so I can show it for Thanksgiving. And we can eat it on Sunday. So I mean, it's not actually Halloween Day. It's like Saturday before Halloween.
Right.
So anywho. Okay, that looks good. That is very, very finely, like it's just crumbs with just a very few little, kind of chunky pieces.
Yeah.
Okay, now
I'm going to go ahead and add my celery in here so I can chop my onion up. Okay, we're chopping up our onion now. This little gadget here gives you a good workout too. Good exercise. But I still love it. Okay, so we've got our cornbread, our celery, and our onion. And we're going to put in a can of chicken broth.
And this is just what we call a regular size can. It's 14.5 ounces.
And now we're going to add 1 can of cream of chicken soup. Now, my mom never did put soup in her dressing. But somehow, down through the years, I just found that I like this. Makes it a little bit more moisture.
It like holds together good too.
Right.
I wonder if that soup makes it hold. And that's just a little regular 10.5 ounce can.
Okay. Now, right here's the most important thing is your ground sage. And you can't hardly get too much sage. So, and I never measure anything. Can you kind of guess at that, Melanie?
Couple teaspoons, maybe. Probably like 3 or maybe 2 big tablespoons.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was this full? Like
No.
new?
No.
Okay. I don't know. And that's the only seasoning that you put in this.
Now, we can put some black pepper in it.
Okay.
If you have black pepper.
You know I have black pepper.
And I always go by smell, too, because you can really smell this sage. And the sage is really what makes this good.
You know what they say about the smeller?
What's that?
He's the feller.
Okay, give me some black pepper.
You tell me when. Don't smell this, it'll make you sneeze.
What?
Takes a while in these crackers.
Yes, I smell that
That's
black
strong,
pepper.
isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go for a little bit more sage. And you can put it on top of your dressing, too, if you don't think you have enough.
Could you use poultry seasoning? What all's in poultry seasoning? Let's Google it.
Well, I never have, but I'm sure you could because that's the way most people what most people use.
Hey Google, what is in poultry seasoning? So, yes, the poultry seasoning is mainly sage and thyme, a few other things. So, I guess if you got poultry seasoning but you don't have sage, it'd probably work.
Right.
Okay, now what's going in?
Okay, we got 1 stick of melted butter.
Yes. Remember that Halloween where I dressed up like Paula Deen and I made that big box of butter for Patrick to wear and he wouldn't do it? And you had to be my butter.
That was your butter.
For trick or treat. I'll put a picture of that up here. I love that.
The things we do for our children.
And for my trunk, I had like everybody I knew collecting their butter boxes for months. And I had a trunk full of empty butter boxes. It was awesome.
When we were talking about smelling a while ago, and Melanie said for me not to smell, brought back a memory of one day we were in this kitchen making hard candy for Christmas, and we were making cinnamon candy. And I told Melanie, I said, "No, don't put your head over that and smell." And I just said it, and she just stuck her nose over it, and she went to hollering, and she had burnt the inside of her nose with cinnamon. So that's another video we may do sometime.
That is
Christmas
crazy,
time.
making that hard candy.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Well,
do that
I just
video.
didn't think it could be that strong, but
just-
it was. It was. Are we? She's smelling it.
And I think we're going to have a little bit more sage.
So, man, that's a lot of sage. I have no idea how much.
Yeah.
You're just looking to be able to smell the sage over top of everything else in there, I guess, right?
Right.
Okay.
We have a cookie sheet, and we're going to put our dressing over.
It's hard when those bowls are big, ain't it?
Yeah. We're going to put our dressing into our pan. Now, this is another thing. If you like thick dressing, make it thick.
Like you could make it in a 9x13.
Right. But, again, my preference is small, thin, and get the top good and crusty. And we're going to pat it out. It was, we greased our pan, and it's just a cookie sheet. And this is a perfect recipe for this size pan. If you go get dressing in a restaurant, it's going to be a big chunk. Like I said, very thick. But now this is just the way we tend to like it.
Looks like it's like 9 or 10 by 15.
Okay.
I don't know. It's probably just a standard size. I bet you would have to cook it a really long time if you put it in a casserole dish.
Right.
We can't wait. We ain't got time like that. We gotta have it.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that is why. Okay, I always wondered what that was when I ate that. That's the fork prints. I never knew that.
Okay, here we go again with this sage. Okay, we're going to sprinkle just a little bit more sage on the top of it.
And what temperature?
And we will cook this at 350. And let's check it we'll check it in 30 minutes.
And how will we know when it's done?
When it turns brown on top.
Okay. That's my kind of cooking. All right, put her in. We won't show my dirty oven.
We checked our dressing after 40 minutes. It wasn't quite done enough and brown enough for us, so we just made some adjustments.
That is what we're talking about.
So that is the finished product.
So we did about 40 minutes at 350. Then we bumped it up to 400 for about 10 more minutes. So you could probably cook it at 375 or 400 for maybe 30 or 40 minutes.
Right.
It's just, cooking is not a precise science, is it, Granny?
No, it's not.
You got to be flexible, don't you?
Uh-huh.
You got to watch things, and every time you make something, it can turn out different. Look at the steam coming off that. Can y'all see that? I cannot wait. So we got to let it sit here for a little bit. What's our next step?
Well, let's see if we can cut out a piece.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, do you have a spatula?
I do. I have this little.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes, I have this little mini spatula.
And nothing is better than this with mashed potatoes and gravy over this.
Oh, that's
It would
looking
probably
good.
do better if we let it set.
Yes, it's perfect.
But now that's the way we like ours. Thin with a crusty top, brown gravy or chicken gravy over that, mashed potatoes, turkey, ham.
Beans, potatoes, tomatoes,
Getting hungry just thinking about it.
your name.
Okay, so that's your...
Awesome. We got to let it set up just a little bit, don't we?
Yeah, it just needs to
We got to let it set up. That's the hardest part, the waiting.
Yes.
Here are 2 other little recipes I'll be sharing with you in this video. I also took them along with the dressing over to my mom's for Sunday dinner. We had a little mini feast here. She made us some chicken and dumplings, and all the things that we all love, the macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, green beans, coleslaw, all the good stuff. You can see the whole little end of the dressing got confiscated before it made it to Granny's house, but we absolutely love her dressing, and I am so glad that we were able to share it with you. This year I wanted to try something new in place of the Waldorf salad. I love the Waldorf salad, don't get me wrong. It always starts with the apples, and in the South we put pecans and all the different things in there, but this one sounded so interesting. It's a creamy cinnamon, apple, and walnut fruit salad. The first thing I like to do when I'm going to be working with apples is to start with just a little bowl of water with some lemon juice in it, and as I cut my apples, I'm going to let them soak in this water for just a minute. So I am halving this recipe. It makes a large amount, so I took 4 apples, just cutting them, coring them, and dicing them into little tiny pieces. You do not want to peel your apples because that gives this salad the prettiest color. And I was looking for some golden delicious apples, but I just couldn't find, just 1 or 2 like I wanted to throw in here, but I did use galas. After each apple had soaked about a minute, I just tried to drain all the water off of it and lay them out on a paper towel. Want to get them good and dry. Got just a tiny bit more chopping to do, really not much chopping for this recipe, but I am taking a half a cup of walnuts and a half a cup of cranberries, and I just want to get them just a little bit smaller down, with what I'm going to mix into this salad. For the dressing part of this salad, you start with 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. Use 1/4 cup of brown sugar, but I'm using a little less because I am using this Splenda. You don't need as much. Going to put in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I'm just sprinkling in a tad bit of pumpkin pie spice. I don't keep cloves and nutmeg and all those spices separately. Now you're just going to use your hand mixer and mix this on high for about 3 or 4 minutes. You just want it to get really light and fluffy, get a lot of air in there. You can see this one fluffed up really nice. Now we're going to add in about 4 ounces of sour cream and about 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Just going to get that all mixed up really good together. I forgot to tell you the purpose of the lemon juice is just to help preserve the apples and to keep them from browning. It doesn't affect the flavor of the salad at all. We're just going to put all of our chopped ingredients down in here. Going to give that a really good stir and get everything combined, and this smells so good right here. It is an amazing change from the regular Waldorf salad. It has these warm vanilla cinnamon flavor. You want to refrigerate it and let all those flavors come together. I did sprinkle some extra cranberries and walnuts on the top of mine. I can't believe that I have looked at this recipe for 2 or 3 years now and just never made it. Definitely has all the Thanksgiving vibes. My little redneck heart wanted marshmallows in this. I really had to fight myself to not put many marshmallows in it. And I want you to know, as soon as I took this to my mama's and opened it on Sunday, she said, "I've got some marshmallows in here if you want to put them in it." That was all it took for me. It was wonderful with the mini marshmallows added. This is another one that I've been meaning to make year after year and just never got around to it. This one is so good. It's perfect little appetizer to be snacking on while everybody's waiting for the big meal. This one starts out with just 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese, softened, and I'm going to take 1/2 cup of dried cranberries and 1/2 cup of dried apricots, and I'm just chopping those up in smaller pieces as well. And I will have links down below in the description box for all of these recipes that I'm sharing with you today. Going to start adding all that fruit right into our cream cheese, and then I'm just taking a navel orange and I did roll it around to kind of loosen up the juice inside, and now I'm just going to zest that entire orange, and then I'm going to squeeze the juice out of it. I'm going to take about 2 tablespoons of that fresh orange juice we squeezed out, put that into our mixture, and about 1 teaspoon of orange zest. You could also put a little ginger in this if you had it. Just going to mix this up really good. Like I said, this is a great dip, like an appetizer. This very much is like a cheese ball, but it is a sweet one instead of a savory. You really get the taste of that orange first and foremost, putting the zest in there. But this was so good. I loved the texture of it. You got all the chunks of the fruit in it and that flavor of the cream cheese and the orange. Honestly, me and my sister-in-law, we were munching on this all day Sunday. This is also a really great thing to use after the holidays with your leftover turkey. You could make a wrap out of this, and that's exactly what I did with mine. I just had some deli turkey meat, and I made a wrap using this spread on the inside of it with some leftover dressing. Yummy. Now I want to share with you a recipe for broccoli cornbread. This is so versatile. I don't know if this is a bread or a side or maybe even just an addition to the dressing stuffing area of your table, but I do know this: everyone loves broccoli cornbread. And this recipe starts with 8 ounces of cottage cheese. I know that that sounds like a strange ingredient, but believe me, it works in this recipe. We're also going to use 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. I'm going to throw you in a small diced onion. And season it up with just some salt and pepper. Also going to pour in 3/4 of a stick of butter that you've melted in the microwave. And we're going to crack 3 eggs into this. This recipe was actually given to me by my oldest daughter's boyfriend, Ryan. He's made this for us a couple times, I believe, and this is his mom's recipe for broccoli cornbread, and it is very good. I've made it, probably 2 or 3 times since he gave me this recipe. We absolutely love this. I do like to get all of this mixed up really good together before I add in my broccoli, and I'm using a 12-ounce bag of chopped broccoli, and I have cooked that up and drained all of the water off of it. You want to try to get it, as dry as you can. Then we're going to mix all of that together, and last but not least, the star of the show is always the Jiffy cornbread mix. I have been on a kick with eating recipes that include Jiffy cornbread recently. You can never go wrong with a good old box of Jiffy. Just want to mix all that together and get it combined really well. I am using a 9x9 baking dish. You want to be sure that you have greased it really well and spread your casserole in there. I am baking this at 375 degrees. Could take anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes. Mine did take the entire 45 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, because my dish was really thick. If you have this in a larger dish, you don't need to cook it as long, but you know it's done when you can stick a knife in it and it comes out clean. But this is like a 2-for-1 dish. I love these kind of things. You're getting a bread and you're getting a side all in one dish. And even people who say they don't like broccoli, I find that they like broccoli cornbread and broccoli casserole. This is just the beginning of all the Thanksgiving food and fun to come here. Got lots of great things coming this month. Desserts, classic sides, all your favorites. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a big thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the fun things I have planned for November. I appreciate you being here. I just don't ever take your time for granted. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday with me. And until I see you in the next video, I send you love from my kitchen.